as we're going to learn about. He was Rabbi Yosef Maman, or he was nicknamed Rabbi Yosef Maman. Really, really great rabbi. He was born and reported over, according to most sources, in the English year 1741. According to other sources, it happened to be 1752. And he passed away on the 7th of December in English year 1822, naturally on the 23rd of Kislev. Now, he became a great Shadar, Shluchei de Rabbanan, representing the Jewish community of Tzfat, traveling around, representing and raising funds for the community. He'll become, let's just say, the main spiritual leader of the Jewish congregation of Bukharan or Uzbekistan, respectively. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, he was born in an area in Morocco called Tatouan, an area we've spoken about on various occasions before. His father was a great rabbi, Rabbi Moshe Maman. And it's reported over that it could be that they were traced themselves back from Maimonides, from the Rambam. It's interesting. His father was, let's say, the head congregation rabbi of the Jewish community, the great Jewish community in Meknes in Morocco, and he was also reported over to have been an advisor to the king. While it's interesting, while he was at a young age, he himself, became an expert with regards to Jewish law, with regards to Kabbalah. Rabbi Yosef did, and was very, very proficient in learning. It was already evident at that stage in time that he would potentially become a really, really great rabbi. He was learning that, and I think he was also very proficient in worldly subjects such as astronomy, and also with regards to mathematics. And I think come what the English year 1770, the family would actually move and depart from Morocco and go to the land of Eretz Israel, and they would settle in Tzfat, respectively. And over there, he would learn under auspices of really great rabbanim in Tzfat, including Rabbi Yehuda Ephraim Monsenigo, very great rabbi, and Rabbi Yehuda Koreyat, very, very great rabbanim. And they will appoint him, I believe, along with the other rabbis of Tzfat, to become a Shadar, a Shluchei de Rabbanan, to travel to various different countries to raise money for the Jewish community and the Torah community of Tzfat. Tzfat being one of the 4 holy cities of Israel, naturally along with Hebron, with Tiberias and Jerusalem. Those are the places. He actually went out to sojourn and to travel to Persia at the time, to Iran. I believe while he was traveling, I think in the year 1793, at some stage in time, he would actually eventually, while he was searching for funds in 1793, he would arrive in Bukharan. So at that point in time, so according to some sources, he would have been 50 years of age. According to the other sources, would be around 40 years of age. And he would choose to stay there in order to, let's say, strengthen the Yahadut, the Judaism in the Bukhara community, and help out the local Jewish population in itself. I think at that point in time, the region was under control, under Muslim fundamentalists, let's just say, and they pressured many local Jews to convert to Islam. It's actually interesting. The community's physical isolation, let's just say, from major centers of Jewish learning was a result of, I believe, the Bukhara's Emirates policy of closed borders, intended to avoid involvement in, I think there was something called the Great Game, which I would advise everyone to. It was a rivalry between the 19th century British and Russian empires over influence in Central Asia in a nutshell. Primarily, I think it was actually against Afghanistan and Persia and Tibet and those other places. I recommend everyone, that's for another class, to actually check it. So because of that, for local Jewish people, this meant fewer opportunities to connect with the larger Jewish community as a whole. And obviously, that's going to have a huge negative knock-on effect in some aspect, in many aspects. He would actually come there and establish various different yeshivot. And it's actually interesting. And his children would actually be working. He founded, apparently reported over, the Chibat Sion. Let's just say it was encouraging Aliyah to Palestine at that point in time. It was like a precursor, let's just say, to Zionism in of itself, and obviously would have a huge benefit in of itself. I think in the early 1800s, early 19th century, let's just say travelers to Bukhara at that point in time, there was various different people over there at that point in time, and they actually report over some of these travelers. I think even non-Jews in themselves, they actually write chronicles describing the impact that Rabbi Yosef Maman had on the culture and the change in the Bukharian Jewish community in of itself. Now, Rabbi Yosef Maman, he passed away in Bukharan, and this was, I think, as we stated before, this was around the year 1822, I believe, December the 7th, 1822. Now, he left many famous, let's just say famous descendants in of itself. I think one of his descendants, it was Rabbi Shimon Chacham. I believe we've spoken about him on various occasions. He was a famous Bukharian Jewish person who was living in Jerusalem himself and translated Hebrew religious books into the language, was Rav Shlomo Musayef. Rabbi Shlomo Musayef famously was one of the great Bukharan rabbis who came to the land of Israel, to Jerusalem. Now, he famously has, let's say, the Sephardi minion factory around the vicinity of the Bukharan quarter. I think there's 11 synagogues. We actually visited it on this channel in of itself. He left, let's say, prominent worldly descendants. Also, Shlomo Musayef, I think, was a very successful businessman. And among the grandchildren include Jeffrey Musayef Masson, and I think there was the first lady of Iceland, if I'm not mistaken, that actually descended from Rabbi Musayef, and there was a descendant of the great Rabbi Maman in of itself. I think many of them were part of, let's just say, invention companies or artistic directors. Also, so in the secular field as well as in the Torah field in of itself, they left various different descendants. So that's very, very interesting enough. He was a great rabbi of probably one of the most famous Bukharian rabbis, you could arguably say. Now, he passed away on Chav Gimel, the 23rd of Kislev, in English year 1822. Now, famously, one of his Talmidim was another great rabbi we spoke about quite recently. His name was Rabbi Pinchas HaKohen Rabin, a very great rabbi in of itself. He passed away himself in the year 1858. He will become a famous judge, let's just say, and the chief rabbi of the Jewish community of Bukhara. That was his one of his Talmidim, and had prominent positions in Turkestan, also all over Uzbekistan. That was one of his famous students. He had, I think there was another one of his descendants, was Raphael Tzemach Chodiatov, who happened to be, I think, another famous Jewish person that was, I think, connected also to Chabad. He passed away in the English year 1987, if I'm not mistaken. So he left very famous descendants in of itself, and much more can be said within regards to him. Now, he was buried in the Beit HaKvarot HaYehudi, Bebוכרה. He was in the cemetery over there, and one of the great rabbis of Tzfat. I believe he trained a lot of rabbis to become proficient within regards to important Torah, different Torah things, Torah, let's just say, life cycle importances in of itself. I believe he trained mohels, for example, and many important roles in of itself. Now, he had various also children. I think he was married twice, if I'm not mistaken. I think from his second marriage, he left children, Rab Abram and Rab Yitzchak also. One of his daughters was Rabbanit Miriam also. So it's very interesting enough. So he left, as we stated before, many of the descendants. It was a time period. He taught also Kabbalah. He bought, I think, for the Jewish community in Bukhara, he would actually purchase a lot of Torah books in of itself and Sidurim from Kushta in Istanbul, if I'm not mistaken, and really helped in strengthening those Jewish communities in of itself. He was actually very connected to many of the Muslim people, and he actually helped in saving many Jewish people in Bukhara in of itself, and stopped intermarriage and people converting to Islam. So that is also very interesting. So he was one of the great rabbis over there. And please don't forget to like candles. We've already covered inside the series about 550 great rabbis. Please, if you are related to great rabbanim we're speaking about, please send me an email. Let me know. I'd love to hear more information. Please share the videos if you feel people are interested. Please subscribe to the channel. He was also, just to point out, he was also a Dayan, a Jewish judge, also in of itself. Very well traveled from Morocco. Was a head rabbi of Bukhara. Was a prominent rabbi in Tzfat. And please don't forget to light candles in his memory, 23rd of Kislev. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom, because I'm recording this just before Shabbat Harshat Vayeshev here in Israel. So take care, everyone, and be well.